Om. Satchidananda-rupaya Vishvotpattyadi-hetave Tapatraya-vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Janmadhyasya yadonvayaditarataschaarteshvabhignaswarat Tene brahmahridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsuraya Tejo varimridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi dharma projita keita botra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kim va Parerishwaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudhyate Trakritibihi Shushrushuvistakchanam. Hari Om, and greetings from Portland. Listening to all of us chant together is quite lovely. While I've been in Portland, I've been interacting with all sorts of age groups. At one of the dinners, a young boy had come to me and asked if we can change our karma. And I shared with him that you can change your karma in two ways. One way is that your karma is going to be experienced, but you can make yourself stronger so that when that karma is experienced, you will be more balanced. It's like if you see a bigger wave coming towards you, what do? You crouch. You prepare yourself to be more balanced. The other way to change your karma is to be closer to Bhagavan Krishna. He is the karma adhyaksha. He is the phaladata. He is the one who regulates karma. And so, the closer we are to Bhagavan Krishna, the less that karma can touch us. Bhagavan Krishna has no karma. So the closer that I am to him, that will mean that I also have less and no karma. This boy was smiling and nodding. I don't know if he understood or not. It's similar to all of you. You smile and nod, whether you understand or not, I don't know. A couple of days later, he came to me again and asked, how can I be closer to Bhagavan Krishna? And that was a cool question because he never asked, how can I be stronger to balance myself? He's not satisfied with having less karma. He wants no karma. And I shared with him, start with Bhagavan Krishna's Nama. You keep listening to it, you keep chanting it, you keep writing it. And he's young, he may be 11 years old, so I left it there. Now, for all of us who are biologically older, I never said spiritually more mature, I only said biologically older. If we want to be closer to Bhagavan, how do we do this? The same thought process, start with his nama, as we've been doing. Deepen to his rupa, his form, as we've been doing. But the jump comes when one goes from nama and rupa to guna. When you get to know his name and form, but what it means to you. How his qualities can be invoked within us. And the fulfillment of guna is dhamma. Where one feels so close to Bhagavan that one only feels Bhagavan, then what happens to our karma? What karma? Karma is only in the field of separation. If there's no separation, there's no karma. And for some who are less oriented towards Sanskrit, if I change it to English, no karma means no more doing. There's only being. All that I've shared thus far, most of you have listened to before. I am sharing this intentionally because right now we commence Navaratri. What is the vision of this Utsava? That a person like Vivek, maybe you, my default is to be tamasic, to be lazy when it comes to my health, lazy when it comes to my relationships. But if I want to rise, I have to invoke Devi Parvati, who's an icon of energy. So then Vivek goes from being tamasic to being rajasic. Next, from rajas to sattva, Navaratri comes to a completion from sattva to vidya. Devi Saraswati is the icon for vidya, for remembering you don't have karma. For remembering that you are not limited, not even limited by sattva. And the finality of all of this is Vijaya. Vijaya means to be victorious over oneself, over one's karma, over one's guna. We have been celebrating Navaratri in Vedanta and Bhagavata for 130 weeks. This is the Navaratri. It's like a macro Navaratri. In the 11th section, the first chapter, Shri Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, in a familial way through his relationships, shares, I am independent. How my family thinks and speaks and acts, that's how they think and speak and act. I am independent. They are falling from sattva to rajas, rajas to tamas. They will fall completely. I am independent. And Bhagavan knows that seekers like all of us, we are going to want to be close to Bhagavan, be like Bhagavan. So he shares in chapters 2 through 5 how to prepare to be independent. The Upadesha from the yogis is really, how do I practice yoga to be yukta? How do I follow the path to be a presence a presence that is not subject to rising and falling. We have exhaustively grounded ourselves in the 11th section, chapter 1, chapter 2 through 5. Now with Navaratri, we begin to flow through Nava content, new content for us to reflect upon. I am in chapter 6, verse 21, 6:21. Bhagavan Brahma, as in the creator, is speaking to Bhagavan Krishna. Bhumer Bharapataraya Pura Vignapita Prabho Tvamasmabhira Sheshatmam Tattatevopapaditam. Bhagavan Brahma is with Bhagavan Shiva and many other omni-gods and semi-gods, and specifically with Bhumi Devi or Prithvi Devi. And Bhagavan Brahma as their spokesperson. Remember, Bhagavan Brahma also has the role to be Bhagavan Narayana's son. A child can be closer to a parent. And Bhagavan Brahma says, when our earth was struggling, was suffering, she came to me, that is Bhagavan Brahma, and we came to you, that is Bhagavan Narayana, and we asked you to protect her, to protect us, and you have done that now. You have protected those who are noble, like the gopis, and you have corrected those who are ignoble, like the asuras. So that is complete. And what we are sharing with you is, we don't need you to be Bhagavan Krishna anymore. Come back. Come back to our dimension. And many other details are shared. Here are some. If we go way back to the beginning of Bhagavatam, the seekers are asking the teacher 6 questions. And the first question is, what is the greatest good for all? And the answer essentially is, Bhagavan is the greatest good for all. Another way to reflect on this, Bhagavan is the one who is engaged in nigraha. Now, everyone who's newer to Sanskrit, please recognize that every time I use a Sanskrit word, what do I follow it up with? English. And I'm sharing that because sometimes we're reactive in our learning. We hear a Sanskrit word and we shut down, when if we are a more intentional learner, we will continue to listen. I feel I do all right with explaining the Sanskrit words. Nigraha means the one who controls, the controller, the creator, the discipliner. And when Bhagavan is expressing as nigraha, what comes with that? Anugraha. Anugraha means the one who graces, the one who blesses. Bhagavan, you have acted like that. You were the controller. And through this, all have been blessed, the wicked and the wise. I was sharing with some of the seekers here. They were asking how Sheila is when I travel. And I was sharing that she's more free. She likes when I travel. Because in our microcosm, I am the nigraha. I am the discipliner for our children. And I tried to explain that to them, that this discipline that I'm offering you will help you to be more free when you're in high school, when you're in college. That's why already my children don't talk to me. They also want me to travel. Appa, when's your next trip? We'll help you pack your bag. But please realize that discipline is the grace. Discipline makes one a disciple. If you're a disciple, that means you're closer to the master then, correct? Other special teachings from this chapter. When Bhagavan Brahma and the omni and semi-gods come, each one of them is putting a garland on Bhagavan Krishna. And they put so many garlands on him that Bhagavan Krishna, they can't see him anymore. And they share that as each of these garlands is being put on, Bhagavati Lakshmi is feeling jealous. She feels that she loves him the most, but she's coming to realize that many love him the most. And it's specifically shared that he's not concerned with her jealousy. That's how much he gives precedent to the bhakta over the Bhagavati. So we can be that bhakta. They praise Bhagavan saying, Bhagavan, from your feet, there are two streams that have emerged. One is the Ganga and the other is the Veda. One physical, one metaphysical, and both purify. The Ganga, you have to touch. The Veda, you don't even have to touch. You just have to listen. How does one be a bhakta? How does one be closer to Bhagavan? Listen to the Veda. Bhagavata is the fifth Veda. Bhagavad Gita is the fifth Veda. Bhagavan Brahma reminds Bhagavan Krishna how old he is. Do you know how old Bhagavan Krishna is in this skanda? The 125, that's right. Good for all of you. He's 125 years old. I don't think anyone is aged as well as Bhagavan Krishna. He's 12, he's 125, it's exactly the same. So Bhagavan is 125 years old, and Bhagavan shares to Bhagavan Brahma and all, you are right. I am in agreement with your prayer. After my family is nigraha, discipline, I will travel through Satyaloka, and then I will return to Vaikuntha. And they all leave then. Bhagavan's back in the dimension of Dwaraka. And in Dwaraka, everyone is beginning to see omens. That which is ordinary is becoming strange. This is like Stranger Things, no? The underworld is these omens. See the copying that's going on. And so Bhagavan Krishna shares with everyone, we can't live in Dwaraka anymore. We will all shift to Prabhasa. Prabhasa. As they're beginning to prepare to leave for Prabhasa, Rishi Uddhava comes. The last time we were really with Rishi Uddhava was when he was with the gopis and they were schooling him on bhakti. Remember that whole experience? So Rishi Uddhava, who's feeling this, is overseeing this, he shares with Bhagavan Krishna, you could have stopped the curse upon your family, but you didn't. And so I'm inferring that you're leaving our world. You who have brought meaning to all of our lives, when you leave, our lives will become meaningless. Help me, help us to continue to have meaning even when you're not here. See the build-up to the final of the 6 questions. Where is Dharma's home? When you're here, all is balanced. When you're not here, how do we continue to be balanced? Next chapter. I'm exploring verse 7. Verses 7 to 12 are the popular and powerful Uddhava Gita. And naturally, I'll share much more. But this is like the original Uddhava Gita, because if you Google this, you'll see hundreds of verses over dozens of chapters. But the original Uddhava Gita is only 6 shlokas. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm starting with 7. This is Bhagavan Krishna speaking to Rishi Uddhava. Yadidam manasa vacha chakshurbhyam shravanadibihi nashwaram grihyamanam cha Viddhi Maya Manomayam. I had introduced this thought last week. I'll elaborate now. Before Bhagavan Krishna begins to teach Rishi Uddhava, he shares that Dwaraka will drown in 7 days. Where all of us have been living in a secure way, even Dwaraka will drown in 7 days. And that is a lovely message, that whatever we feel to be the most stable is still unstable. Other than Bhagavan. Who's not in Bhagavan? When Dwaraka begins to sink, Bhagavan. And a related message for all of us, especially all of us. There's only 2 more sections of Bhagavatam, is the urgency to get out. Bhagavan shares that when I leave this world, time will change into Kali. There will be more conflict. There will be more selfishness. For all of us, there will be more speed. Life will move faster and faster and faster, and you will feel busier and busier and busier. I had hammered out this thought when I was in Cleveland last week, and I'm saying it again. That way, those who are outside of the classroom in Cleveland, if you're not in the class right now, you know why? Because you're busy. Why else wouldn't you be learning about self-development? Because you're focused on material development. And if this is offensive to you, that's even more relevant to you then, correct? Come inside. Urgency to get out. How? I'm going to explain now the essence of these 6 verses, starting with verse 7, which I just read. This is the essence, okay? There's a lot of elaboration. I'm focusing on the essence for this week. The key word, the key feeling in verse 7 is relative. Relative. Bhagavan says, all that we, grihyamanam, input through our minds and through our eyes and so on, all of it is nashwaram. Nashwaram means it is being destroyed. It is on its way to death. So you depending on that which is being destroyed and that which is dying, How can you feel secure? How can you feel complete? And he shares this in a very potent way. He says, all of this is Maya Mayam, which means filled with Maya. And then he also uses Mano Mayam. It is filled with the mind. Isn't that true? Right now, if I insult one of you, I think I use this example a lot. Maybe it's like subconsciously I want to do that. If I insult one of you and you take it personally, even if I continue with awesome thoughts, where are you? Your whole world has changed, correct? What Bhagavatam? You're stuck in, am I really like that? Vivekji, you're twice as much like that. So undoubtedly, our experience is in here. Verse 8, the essence word is separation. Relative separation. Bhagavan is sharing, when you live in this magical way, meaning a world of projections and illusions, then this is really a separate world. It's a separate world from my world. And once that separation starts, you go on creating more divisions. Me, you, mine, yours, rich, poor, Democrat, Republican, etc. Verse 8, how to not get lost in the mind, in labels. The essence is direction. For verse 9, it's direction. Direct the senses to the mind or by the mind. Direct the mind to the creator. And direct the creator to you and direct you to me. Should I one more time? Bring in the senses to the mind. Bring in the mind to the creator of this world. Understand that all of creation is in you and you are in me. Direction. If you do this, now the first 3 verses are more of the effort. The last 3 verses are more of the phala. In verse 10, the essence word is joyous. If you become me, you will be joyous. Those who are joyous, how they became like that is, first, they tried to be Shrotriya, which means they nurtured a relationship with the Shastra, with the map. And the depth of this relationship is to be Nishtha, which means first you learn all of this, then you be all of this. You know this intellectually, but then you internalize this. And the really lovely point in all of this, in addition to what I've shared, those who are joyous, they have avigna. What does vigna mean? Obstacle, difficulty, etc. Living is smooth for them, easy. It's like running on a treadmill. The treadmill itself is pulling you. You're hardly working. Vigna is running on the road. Avigna, running on a treadmill. This is more running in your dreams. There's no physical exertion. Verse 11, the summary message is free. Those who are joyous are free. How free? Like an infant. An infant is spontaneous. No past, no present. Our younger son, Shuka, he's still sort of infant-like in the sense that though he's 3, he'll still call himself by the third person. It's so wonderful to hear saying, but yeah, Shuka and Vyasa are going outside. Shuka saying Shuka and Vyasa will go outside. So much spontaneity now for our names. Like imagine I asked one of you, unmute yourself and give me a summary of the last 2 minutes. My heart's beating so fast. And the rest of you will be thinking, he's going to ask me next. What's everyone going to think of me? Nobody's thinking of you. Think about Bhagwan. So when you're free, you become spontaneous. And finally, in verse 12, the summary message is peaceful. Those who are peaceful help others. They spontaneously help others. When I was at the University of Portland on Friday, I was sharing with them, when I was in business school, I had learned that the greatest resource a nation has is people. When I was in the ashram, I learned that was partially correct. The greatest resource a nation has is happy people. If I have stress, anxiety, dejection, how can I help you? If I have existence, awareness, joy, I naturally help you. What an awesome Gita. You can go to YouTube right now and listen to Drake, listen to Lizzo. Do you think you'll feel like this? Some more thoughts before another amazing part of Bhagavatam begins next week. A few more thoughts. As Rishi Uddhava is listening to Bhagwan and internalizing this, he shares with Bhagwan, I love this paragraph. Just for your reference, it's chapter 7, verse 14. How many of you, by a show of hands, practice yoga? By a show of hands. Okay. Now, when I say that to you, you know this is a vision. Most think this is a posture. Here's what Rishi Uddhava says. O thou bestower of the fruits of yoga, O thou the wealth of yogins, O thou who revealest thyself through yoga, O thou the originator of yoga. So what is yoga? It is the practitioner, the path, the presence. What is it not? A posture. How comprehensive yoga is. Rishi Uddhava, as he's listening to all of this, shares, I, like the people of the world, are attached. How can we follow what you're sharing when we are attached? And he says so amazingly, this is an amazing revelation. Those who are giving into Maya, giving into the mind, they feel that reality is external. They live only in the external world. And what this really shows is that they're extrovert. The more attached you are, the more extrovert you are. And in Bhagavatam, there's a redefinition of samsara. That redefinition is, samsara is the ocean of misfortune. We always say samsara is this or that, but this is the first time that I've read this in this way. It's the ocean of misfortune. You go from one misfortune to another misfortune to another misfortune. What is misfortune? Not having meaning. Those who don't have meaning in their lives, they're just pushed around externally. And the final thought, this is a lovely build-up to where we will go next. Bhagwan is listening to Rishi Uddhava. He's a compassionate teacher, and he shares, those who are adept in vichara, those who think, those who inquire, then they don't need a guru. They can learn from all. What is this a build-up for? The Avaduta Gita, where the 24 teachers of Rishi Dattatreya will soon be revealed. That Balavara book, what everyone likes to dance about, we will get to experience the details of all of this. Everyone who's Bhagya, put your hand up. Those who don't have their hands up, I'm noting your name. You can come to class next week. Oh.